We're having a baby now. Don't look at girls.
I need her to tell me that she trusts me, but she doesn't trust me. We have 17,000-ish Filipino pesos. I don't think we're gonna have enough to pay for the bills next month. Can't believe you're pregnant.
I'm happy because I'm having a baby fever.
I know we were trying, but...
You what?
Awesome! So, most of us technically knew this was coming, but somehow I was still shaking my head like this when it was finally revealed. Yep, Crazy Mary is pregnant. And I was still pretty shocked by this reveal, even though I had previously seen a spoiler that gave this news away. It was leaked during an early episode that Mary and Brandan were having a baby. Also, no one can get mad about me putting this spoiler in this video now. This has officially been revealed on the show this week, so don't at me. We have now seen the positive pregnancy tests on the show, but seeing it in the episode versus hearing about it as a spoiler felt different. When I heard about the spoiler initially, we hadn't actually met Mary in person yet, just Brandan, and I have this major character flaw. When I first heard the spoiler, I assumed that they had gotten settled into life in the Philippines, found jobs, then decided to get married, and then got pregnant, in that order. Because apparently that's just how my brain works. I did also consider that Mary got pregnant and then they got married. That's not uncommon, but I still assumed that that meant that they figured things out, got on their feet, you know, like responsible, mature adults. I have to laugh at myself now because I haven't seen one hint of them acting like responsible adults. So I don't know where I got this from. I'm telling you, it's a character flaw. If anything, we learned quickly after Brandan arrived to the Philippines that they had a lot of things to figure out. The biggest one to figure out was Mary's insane jealousy issues.
Don't look at girls. Don't look at girls, okay? Like I told you.
Because Brandan expressing any concerns or trying to stand up for himself resulted in this. Also, when Brandan claimed she had asthma and asked for an inhaler in this scene, did anyone actually see an inhaler? I did not. To me, this behavior did not seem like a panic attack at all. It seemed like a tactic to both get out of the conversation and to get Brandan to back down. And it totally worked.
I just feel bad. I feel like I could have tried to confront her a little bit more gently.
I don't think he could have said that any more gently, unless he laid her down softly on a pile of feathers while he said it. Brandan feels guilty when he did nothing wrong, and this is because he's lived his life not feeling good enough. And he mentioned how Mary came into his life when he tried to take his own life, which is very sad, and this guy has had a hard time.
Mary reached out for the first time. Let's just say it was like the literal definition of a life changer.
Brandan is very much struggling in this scene, and it was sad to see, but it also proves how trauma bonded these two really are. He says it himself.
I clung on so hard.
He has had no stability, never been a priority, and now he is here with Mary, who is controlling, manipulative, and unstable. At this point in this episode, I was still feeling bad for Brandan, and I had this hope that at least he would be the responsible adult out of the two of them. We know that it won't be coming from Mary, whose villain side just makes me want to tell Brandan to run very far away, even though we know that he's not going to run. It annoys me quite a lot how you can see Mary easily snap out of her meltdowns. And I bet it's because the person that did her vitals that was walking away said something like, "Your vitals are fine, you're fine, here's some water." I also don't like that Mary knows what Brandan wants in this moment, but she's holding on to it to manipulate him as she pleases. He is needing validation that she trusts him. That's it. He even says that he is sorry, hoping that she will come back with that validation. But this is a huge mistake on his part. Because I get the sense that when they talk the next day, that Mary figured out that she can hold the lack of trust over Brandan's head as long as she wants. He does get frustrated. He does try to push back, but he doesn't go anywhere when she does this.
I feel like everyone will leave me no matter what I do, but Brandan doesn't leave me.
The little smirk she has tells me that she knows she has the control. There was something about this scene when it aired that made me think that something had changed between this scene and her first meltdown, and I couldn't figure out what it was at the time. Mary looks more relaxed here. I think that is what made me think that. I was at first wondering if she was relaxed because they started shooting scenes with no one around. There's absolutely no one around for Brandan to look at here. Mary's panic attack seemed fake to me, but I'm guessing her acting like she's going to die is a liability for the show. So Brandan, you're getting isolated for filming whether you want to be or not. But I'm now wondering, knowing what we know, if this was around the time that they had agreed to start trying to have a baby.
I really want my future with you.
That statement alone hints at it. Mary thinks that Brandan will leave her, or maybe just says that on repeat to torture him. Not sure which. But I could see her thinking that a baby would keep him around. What could be a more relaxing thought for Mary than trapping Brandan forever? When I first watched this scene though, I was still under the impression that they were not even sleeping together yet. They had that whole issue with her grandparents and her saying that she wanted to wait until they were married.
Hindi na magulit.
Hindi na magulit.
She seemed very set on that. And when we find out that they are out of money, like really out of money.
We have 17,000-ish Filipino pesos. I don't think we're gonna have enough to pay for the bills next month.
I really thought, oh, they're going to try to find jobs and get on their feet before a wedding or getting pregnant.
I can make necklaces and we can sell it, but it's like a small amount of money.
They haven't brought up Brandan working at all, but I bet Mary doesn't let him out of her sight. This did sort of feel like a turning point for them, well, at least for Brandan. When Brandan proposes the idea of asking her grandparents for a loan, we see that the immaturity Mary has is still alive and well.
He already sacrificed a lot. I don't want to make him stressed.
She still thinks that having a meltdown will stop difficult conversations, but it doesn't actually work this time. Brandan seemed to be more firm and less apologetic.
He didn't pay for your college. You had a scholarship.
He's the one who gave us
Without
food.
any interruption, please.
Which made me stupidly think that he was maturing and trying to figure out how to support the two of them. I think because they seem to be pretty screwed and need help, and Mary's grandparents are living in a house that Brandan paid for, that it was not unreasonable to suggest that they ask for help. He did provide their grandparents with a house when they really needed one. That idea sounded more reasonable than making bracelets. Mary also saying that he hasn't struggled like her family is unfair, and I think that kept him from backing down completely.
I wasn't always able to put food in my stomach, but I tried my best to still provide for you.
This guy has definitely struggled. And people definitely do struggle here in the US. She does calm down. I wish she would have lost the argument though.
I don't want you to ask my grandpa for help.
I'm not going to put you in that sort of position.
When we left them, it seemed like they at least had a plan to figure things out without actually asking her grandpa for help.
Maybe we can just use this as an opportunity to grow for it.
But when we see them again 2 episodes later, their entire situation has completely flipped. And this is when I stopped feeling bad for Brandan completely. So it has been 3.5 months since Brandan moved to the Philippines, and a lot has changed in a short period of time.
For the past couple months, Mary's grandfather has been working in Manila, so we've been able to have some privacy.
And all of that privacy has led to exactly what Mary's grandparents were afraid of, a pregnancy. And I have a lot of things to say about this, but before I do, let's quickly summarize what Brandan just said. He says that Mary's grandpa is now working far away in Manila. So what I got out of that was that they did ask her grandpa for help with money, and he helped by going off to work. So the grandpa goes off to work to help support them, while they stay home and have sex all day. That is what I get out of this. Maybe they are helping with the farm? Fine, whatever. But the grandpa left to go support them. Please tell me, is that what you got out of this? Because I cannot tell you how irritated that made me feel. I did not hear one thing about Brandan saying he got a job or Mary got a job. Why didn't they get a job? Why didn't Brandan go with the grandpa to help and make more money? How dumb are both of these people?
Can't believe you're pregnant.
Are you happy or?
I am happy. This just, let me process this.
So much for waiting for marriage. By how happy Mary is about this, I assumed that this wasn't a huge surprise, but I did not expect the next few scenes at all.
Being crazy and I really want a baby.
Right. I know we were trying, but...
Oh, so they were actively trying and this was not an accident. That is the most disappointing thing that I could have heard. Goodbye, sympathy for Brandan. Out the window you go. Both of these people were abandoned by their parents and lived very unstable lives. If they were actually smart, which apparently they're not, they would think, well, we just sent the old grandpa to work and provide for us on a different island where I'm sure the conditions are really bad. We have no money, we have no savings, can't pay our bills. Let's be safe and try not to get pregnant until we are in a place to give a child a better life than we had. But no, these broke idiots were trying.
It's different when you're trying compared to like when it actually happens and you're like, okay, hold on. Like I thought it would take longer.
And I'm not going to blame this just on Mary, because Brandon's suitcase could have been filled with Costco packs of condoms. But I will say that the way he words how this happened makes me think that he thought this decision to try to have a baby would make her trust him. That's very messed up, but that sounds like that's what happened.
She's like, I just really, really want a baby. And I thought trying to make a baby will help us become better couple.
But he is an absolute idiot for dragging an innocent child into him and Mary's relationship issues. And he is even stupider for counting on this taking a while. Why would he even take a risk with someone who doesn't even let him look at girls? I mean, what if the baby is a girl? He won't even be able to look at her. I was annoyed by her grandparents making rules for them before because they are 23 years old and not teenagers. But now I get why they were nervous about this. They're in no position to even provide for themselves, let alone another person. But Mary doesn't seem as worried as I thought she would be about her grandparents finding out.
I don't know what to do when he finds out. He already sacrificed a lot. I don't want to make him stressed.
She doesn't seem worried at all about the tradition she's breaking by doing this like she did before. So did that ever even really matter to her? Because now would be the perfect time to have an epic panic attack meltdown combo. And she is smiling.
Like I'm excited, but I'm also just really, really nervous and anxious.
I'm nervous too.
And she doesn't really push them getting married more quickly either. I guess this alone was enough to make her feel like Brandon really isn't going anywhere. Brandon, on the other hand, looks very worried, and he should be worried. Well, Brandon, I have one thing to say to you if you happen to watch this video. You are just as much of an idiot as Mary is. The only thing I hope for you now is that you give that kid a better life than you had. Good luck, dumbass.
Big Ed has a poem for you. Roses are red, violets are blue. Subscribe to the Kibbles channel.
You're my best view.
So many different things can go wrong.
Yeah, hold on, I'm gonna throw up.
I mentioned in my first video that these two could go the route of Paul and Karini. Those two had a story that ended with their kids getting taken away. I obviously hope that that does not happen with Brandan and Mary, but right now it does not look like they are making good decisions for their future.
I just really hope that we can handle everything that's on our plate.
The preview for the next episode does not show an update on Brandan and Mary, so I'm guessing that we don't see them next week, but can you imagine how the stress and hormone changes of pregnancy will affect Mary? I mean, she was barely keeping it together before. We also haven't seen them in a public setting since the church either. It's been like an empty school, an empty house. I think that they are still isolating themselves to avoid jealousy problems, and not just for filming. I'm guessing that's why Mary suggested that she could sell bracelets. They haven't brought up Brandan working at all. He could have gone with Mary's grandpa and worked in Manila to make some money, but I bet Mary doesn't let him out of her sight. Yikes, this is such a mess, and I feel like it's just about to get messier, especially if they're just isolating themselves and they're going through all these stresses and changes. Let me know what you think about all this. I'm so disappointed in Brandan and Mary right now. I want to know what you think. I do think that we are getting to the end of this season, so we will have to see how the rest of the season plays out for them. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye!